Respected faculty members, honorable guests, and dear fellow students, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. I'm your host, Syed Abbas Kareem, and I cordially welcome you all to the third and last session of a series of webinars entitled Networking Session with Successful Alumni. Dear attendees, it is my distinct pleasure to announce that for the first time ever, the English Alumni Society of the Department of English organizes a series of webinars comprises a total of 3 sessions which are aimed to empower current students by connecting them with successful graduates who have excelled in their fields. These highly significant sessions will feature a diverse panel of alumni, each sharing their unique journeys, challenges that they face, and how they claimed victory against those challenges. This series of webinars is designed not only to inspire, but also to equip the attendees with practical tools and advice that can enhance their career prospects. Similarly, by listening to our guest alumni speakers who have navigated the transition from academia to the workplace, participants will gain valuable insights into effective networking strategies and learn how to leverage relationships for career advancements in today's competitive landscape. Before we immerse ourselves into the rich insights that await us in today's session, I invite Mr. Sabghatullah, a renowned Qari, for the recitation of some verses from the Holy Quran. Mr. Sabghatullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah. Before we dive into today's discussion, I would like to take a moment to highlight a few important points for both our attendees and the panelists. This webinar is designed to promote meaningful discussion with a structured approach that allows us to focus on one guest speaker at a time. I'll be directing as much questions as possible to one alumni individually, ensuring we can fully explore their multifaceted experiences and insights without any sort of confusion. And yes, a short note for the attendees who have joined us online. You can write your relevant queries in the comment sections either on Facebook or on YouTube. And as time permits, I'll put those queries to the worthy panelists. Now, I'm excited to welcome our first guest alumna speaker, Miss Lubna Hussain, a proud graduate of NUML with a BS in English, batch 2022. Currently, she serves as an assistant commissioner in the Inland Revenue Services. She achieved this prestigious position by successfully clearing the CSS exam on her first attempt, a remarkable accomplishment, particularly as she hails from Gilgit Baltistan, where educational resources are often limited. Her journey reflects unwavering perseverance and determination, qualities honed through academic and personal growth. The quality education in Namal played a pivotal role in Miss Lubna's Hussein's success. Her degree equipped her with critical communication skills, analytical reasoning, and the ability to think deeply, tools essential for excelling in one of the Pakistan's toughest examinations. Beyond academics, the guidance of her mentors and the university's supportive environment helped her shape her trajectory in the best possible manner, preparing her to meet future challenges with resilience and capability. We are thrilled to have Ms. Lubna Hussain with us today to share her inspiring experiences and insights. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today. Ms. Lubna, are you around?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
One salam. So basically, I have crafted. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.
Um,
Thank you for having me.
I'll jump into the questions directly. So, could you please quickly summarize your experience studying for your BS in English here at the National University of Modern Languages, Islamabad, and how did your academic background influence your decision to pursue a career in the civil services of Pakistan?
All right. So my journey with NUML or in NUML began back at 2018, and I graduated in the year 2022. So collectively, these 4 years obviously has to do a lot with what I am today. The mentors I had, I have been taught by Iram Shehzadi, ma'am. Iram Shehzadi is with us. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am, if you can hear me. And then I was being taught by Sir Muntazir Mehdi, and they were very nice, very well read and educated faculty there. Then, most importantly, my peer group I had as my class fellows. They were kind of source of knowledge for me, providing an environment where we were learning from one another, and of course, source of motivation, and obviously part-time source of entertainment as well. So all in all, it was a very good experience, and it really went well, alhamdulillah. And the question regarding CSS, the degree did not motivate me towards civil services. Rather, this was the purpose or the cause of civil services that brought me to NUML. After my FSC or pre-medical, I made this as my goal, to clear CSS, or to bring something different than that everybody goes towards medical or engineering, even though I tried for MBBS once. But then I decided to do something different, do something which is more challenging, and that was what brought me to NUML. And alhamdulillah, just after having my graduation from there, I cleared CSS, and alhamdulillah, the dream became reality.
Um, so you talked about basically your motivation. So my question would be like this. To me personally, it seems that CSS has sort of become a tradition. It is some sort of a conditioning, as you said that you also appeared in the medical entrance exam, but I guess that you couldn't qualify the exams, and that's why you pursued a BS degree in English literature and linguistics. So I want to ask, what is your take on this sort of conditioning, and what was your personal source of motivation to pursue a career in the civil services of Pakistan?
Uh, well, as you see, every female of any area would preferably go to a field where like medical, like teaching. So there's less inclination towards civil services. And then there's a myth that CSS cannot be accrued in your first attempt. You have to take 3 attempts, and then you have to study for years and years to make it possible for you. So that was kind of challenge that motivated me, that I had believe on myself that yeah, it's not a difficult thing. It's not that difficult to be achieved in 6 months or in first attempt. So, and obviously, as you mentioned, that I belong to Gilgit Baltistan, in particular Rastore, and in our areas, there's much prestige associated to civil services and to bureaucracy. And when I was doing my metric, at that time, there was a girl from a store who qualified CSS, who became as an assistant superintendent of police. So the way it was celebrated all across the province, when you clear MBBS, or when you become a teacher, though they are very respectable, very prestigious post, but the way this CSS is being celebrated all across the province was something that motivated me towards civil services. Yeah.
All right. Now I'll move towards question regarding preparation and the challenges that you face during your exams preparation. So everybody knows that CSS exam is extremely difficult, but mashallah, you cleared it on your first attempt. So could you please talk about the challenges that you faced personally, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yes, so there are challenges. Obviously, it's one of the toughest exams. So it's a reality that we're gonna face challenges. A few challenges I would like to mention are that being a student of literature, Ma'am would agree with me that we are not supposed to produce a number of pages when we attempt paper. We are supposed to write on one or maximum 1.5 page, but the quality matters for a student of literature, right? But when I came for preparation of civil services, I got to know that in this exam you have to write at least 8 to 12 pages per question. So that was kind of challenge for me to speed up, the speedy writing. That was a challenge. And then obviously English was way enough for me. Usually English becomes a big challenge for civil servant, the aspirants of CSS, but that was not the case with me. And then Park Affairs, Current Affairs, they were such subjects, political science, US history. These subjects have less to do with literature. So they kind of gave me tough time in civil services examination preparation. But Alhamdulillah, with perseverance, with determination, if you're determined to do something, if you're consistent, if you have enough stamina to sit and to study and to pursue your dreams, nothing is impossible, of course.
All right. Now, I would like to please talk about your study routine and strategies you found most effective in preparing for the CSS exams. And what would be your suggestion as an aspirant? When should I start my preparation for the CSS exams?
Okay, let me start answering your last question first. When you should start your preparation? If you are a graduate, I would suggest give your 100% to your own degree. Do justify to whatever you're doing, be it BS English or IR or it's public administration, or you are an engineer or doctor, whatsoever degree you're pursuing, give your best to your degree, right? And another thing that simultaneously you should focus on is your English. If you're good, if your English is fair enough, grammatically correct one, then you will not face any sort of challenge that you cannot cover the content. The content itself is very easy in all the subjects of for subjects that we opt for civil services. They are not very difficult subjects. The course is lengthy, but if you are good at writing a fairly correct, grammatically correct English, then it's not a big deal to clear CSS. So I would suggest complete your degree well. But yes, along with that, do focus on your English, be it spoken or be it written, because there's another portion that is called viva. So for interview, you need to have a good spoken English. So do focus on that thing, because for students who are enrolled in BS English program, they have presentation. They even have subject called presentation skills. So you can develop your presentation skills along with your other academic courses. And then as for my routine is concerned, how I was making strategies regarding the preparation. So I used to first consult the past papers, so that because I had a limited time span, it was around 6 to 8 months, I would say. So I did not had enough time where I could go through the detailed books and then make notes and then go for past papers and evaluation and so on. So the first strategy, the first thing I did was to take the past papers of all the subjects and evaluate them. I took 1 month to evaluate past papers of all the subjects. That helped me to decide what should I read, how I should make my notes, and what should I not read. Okay, so this is one of the most important thing in CSS, what you should not read, where you should not waste your energy and your time. So and then making notes was another strategy, and then evaluation is one of the most important thing. Usually aspirants sit in their rooms or sit in in libraries. They don't go to evaluators, they don't get their work evaluated. That keeps them away from what is needed. They do not know what to be produced in the exam. That leads to the failure and consumption of years and years. So evaluation is another very important thing. And then mock exams was also very important. And of course, hard work is always there. You cannot say that you are not a hard worker if you are a CSS qualifier. So there were days when I used to study for 18 hours, maybe, and there were days not consistently, but yeah, some days we used to study for 18 hours, and some day maybe for 8 hours. So at least 8 to 10 hours you have to study. Yeah.
All right. So basically, what I got from your answer, because this is extremely important question, majority of the students, whenever they start their preparation, they face this challenge, as you talked about. Okay, to first of all understand, make sense of the syllabus. Was extremely important in your strategy. The second one was you also opted for feedback like evaluators, and the last one was the mock exams. I'll move on. And my question would be about, as you said, K, CSS exam is obviously all about hard work and takes a lot of time. So how did you balance your personal life and your academic life? What was your time management strategy? If you could please talk about it.
So usually when you start CSS preparation, you have to give up on many things. Of course, you cannot roam all the time. Of course, you cannot um, uh, do shopping every day. You have to change your routine. You have to compromise. You have to sacrifice a lot of things. Uh, so balancing your personal life as well as academic life was not that difficult once you decide that this is my purpose. uh, I find happiness, I find pleasure, I find satisfaction in preparing those subjects. The content I was learning, that was new for me, that was interesting for me, I was enjoying that. So I didn't have to go somewhere else to get that enjoyment from. So yeah, this was source of motivation, this was source of entertainment for me as well. And apart from that, I had alhamdulillah good friends there, along with my CSS preparation. So we used to do hangouts in weekends, maybe for 1 to 2 hours. So but at the end you have to sacrifice a lot of things for this preparation.
Um, you is per my own observation, and I'm sure you have also observed this thing, and you have some sort of experience regarding this thing, that during CS exams, aspirants are beclouded by pressure and anxiety, and there's a sort of ambivalence and uncertainties. So, in your opinion, what is the significance of a support system at hand, and how did your teachers family, friends contribute to your success?
Yeah, this is a very important question. So, of course, there's a role of teachers, friends, and family. So, all the people regard around yourself in your surrounding are very important. You need to be very choosy regarding having friends. You should have friends who could motivate you. Alhamdulillah, I had such friends who always kept motivating me. No matter how down I felt, no matter how discouraged I felt, they were there to motivate me. My family was there, who was not expecting me to qualify CSS in first attempt. They were just of the view that go and consider this as your first attempt. Consider your first attempt as a trial. Don't put pressure on yourself. So obviously there was support from my family as well. And most important is, I believe, is the support of your teachers, because you know that they know you. You know that they know you whether you are able to qualify CSS or not, whether you are on the stage that you can accomplish the success or not. So Alhamdulillah, I would again like to thank Sir Dr. Arif Javed from NOAA, who always kept supporting me. And when teachers say that, yes, you have the potential to do this, you have the potential that you can ace CSS without wasting years in your first attempt, uh, and you have that talent, you have that confidence and everything. So when they support you, obviously confidence eventually comes, and that leads to success. So that helped me not to take too much pressure in this journey.
All right, all right. Um, Ma'am, in your opinion, what are the core skill set that a BS English student should acquire in order to stand in the competitive exams?
Um, okay, so regarding skills, because CSS is now not anymore an exam of cramming thing, you have to be very analytical. There are very general papers. Sometimes you might not be having enough data, enough knowledge regarding a particular topic or particular question. You have to bring data or content from another subject. You need to be analytical enough, you need to be critical enough so that you could manage the paper at the spot. An aspirant of CSS in today's era cannot expect to have questions which they have already prepared. They need to have skills, not the content. Of course, content is very important, but more important is skills, skill development. So I would say critical skills, analytical skills, and writing skills, of course. The presentation skills are very important. In even if you have a very limited amount of content in regarding a particular topic, but if you have very good presentation skills, you can get very good marks. And we have practically experienced that. It's not just that we're saying this, but we have experienced that. You If you have been to this CSS exam preparation, you might have heard that this subject was hit this time. So what that means is that the topic or the paper becomes so difficult. The FPSC tries to make it this much difficult that you won't be able to have direct content or knowledge regarding that topic. But you need to have presentation skills, good writing skills, that you could manage it well. You need to know how to deconstruct the topic, how to make headings out of that question, and make it more relevant, adding charts and graphs and other stuff. So yeah, these skills are very important.
All right. So basically, you talked about analytical skills, critical skills, writing skills, and presentation skills are very much important. So okay, I'll move on to this question that I basically asked from all the CSS of CSPs. Um, what are the common pitfalls that an aspirant should avoid while doing his preparation or her preparation for the CSS exams?
Mhm. Reading a lot. They must avoid reading a lot, reading from multiple books. Though there are CSP officers who would recommend that you need to go through multiple books for a subject, I would not recommend. If you want to clear CSS in a few months, in a year, in your first attempt, don't read a lot, read little, but read it very in a very comprehensive way. You need to clear your concepts, not to cover a lot of content. That's first thing. And again, many aspirants do not get their work evaluated. They would keep on writing essays, number of essays. They would attempt number of questions, but they will not go to any mentor or any teacher to get their work evaluated. So that's another very important thing. And there are myths regarding CSS, and aspirants should not consult every CSP officer. They should stop taking recommendations from or suggestions of every CSP officer. They should only consult those who are very experienced in this field, who kept teaching these like CSS aspirants for years and years. So I would suggest this to the aspirants. And yeah, there are many other things that if I recall, I'll share later on.
All right. So my second last question would be, as the famous saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So, in your opinion, what are other good career options if the CSS exams do not go well for an aspirant?
Hmm. So we have two other distinguished guests today. One is, I guess, a lecturer, instructor, maybe, and another one is, I guess, content creator, maybe. So, like, we have freelancing. We can go for corporate sector like human resource management. We can go for script writing, content creator or creative writers. And honestly, I graduated in year 2022, and then I applied for CSS in 2023. I didn't search too much fields where I should go, but I often hear from people that these are the options that a BS English graduate can go for. So there should be, I would suggest, I would recommend this to you people, that arrange career counseling sessions in NUML, so that, because when we were there, we didn't have any sort of such session where we could be counseled in a way regarding careers. So do arrange these sessions for graduates at the very early semesters and first second semester, or maybe they, if they do not feel themselves aligned with the topics, with the subjects, they can change at the early, as early as possible. And at least at seventh semester or eighth semester, there should be such sessions in university. Yeah.
All right. Basically, the department in this regard is extremely supportive. We have job phase, we have career counseling sessions. There's basically an entire society that is functional currently. So the department, Alhamdulillah, is extremely supportive in this regard.
I have heard that Namal has changed a lot. I'll visit someday, inshallah. I don't have time now, but I'll visit for
Sure,
sure.
sure, you're welcome. My last question would be, looking ahead, what are your long-term career goals within your field?
Well, so far we don't have such goals, but obviously a commitment with us as probationary officers and civil servants of Pakistan. Whatever we are going to do, we'll do with it honesty. We'll do it with having a loyalty in our hearts and honesty in our mind, to serve the state, to serve the people of Pakistan, inshallah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lubna Hussain. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for sharing insightful experiences with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
I
Thank you
have,
for having me.
well,
There are some online questions, Abbas. Can you please check?
all right.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
Um, okay, so so the first question that I have, Ma'am, for you is, how has being a CSS officer changed your perspective on governance and society?
Recently, we have been attached to a program, a project, learning from community. We were attached to households in the peri-urb areas of Lahore. We went to the households. We saw people working there, the organizations and the the people of that area. So what I found was that the failure is not on just on one part. Of course, there are challenges. Of course, there are loopholes on governance side, but वो क्या कहते हैं उर्दू में कि ताली एक हाथ से नहीं बजती. If your awam is very much active, तो never ever an officer or a government servant can dare to not do your work, right? So this is from both sides. For good governance, you need to have a very active, very educated, very literate society, members of the society. So it's on both sides. Governance, of course, every officer tries to make some improvement, do something better day by day. We'll also try to do that, but of course we need to give awareness to society as well.
All right. Ma'am, there's another question regarding subject selection. Like there are certain subjects in which student an aspirant can score well, however, they are ignored quite often. So, in your opinion, what are those subjects?
Anthropology is one such subject. It's a good
Mhm.
scoring subject, and it's often been ignored. And then urban and town planning, uh, and governance and public policy is another subject that can give you a good score, and they are very easy subjects. Majority of the subjects that you can opt in css does not do not demand any sort of background. Their content is, fair enough, easy enough to be understood by any graduate having any sort of background. So yeah, criminology used to be a very good subject, but the last year it did not score well. But at the end, your preparation matters. Our times, US history got hit, and though we were not expecting that we'll be able to pass this paper or the exam, but eventually your preparation matters. If you are prepared well, if you're prepared, if you have good preparation of the subject, you will be able to score good.
All right. I have another question, I think, on from Facebook. Um, what non-academic habits, for instance, fitness, hobbies, helped improve your focus on or performance, especially during your undergraduate years?
Well, in my undergraduate years, I have not been involved in extracurricular activities or non-academic activities, but I have to face challenges because of that in Civil Services Academy. We have sports, we have PT here. There are matches. A day before we had table tennis match. So now I actually feel I realize that we must, every graduate, every school student, everyone should have this experience of being involved in extracurricular activities and physical activities. It's a very good thing, of course. And being a civil servant, if we need to manage our stress, if we want to keep ourselves motivated, if we want to keep ourselves fresh enough to go for another very hectic day, we need to involve in these physical activities. So of course it's important for every graduate, every citizen, I would say, of Pakistan.
I have another question, and it goes like this. Um, the question, the one who is asking this question, affirms this. Okay, it's a bit personal, but
Mhm.
he wants to know: did clearing CSS meet your expectations regarding the life and career that come with it?
That's a personal question, actually. um
Yeah.
चांद हाथ लगे तो चांद कहाँ लगता है. So yes, expectations are never met. Let me make this
Hmm.
clear. Yeah,
Hmm.
expectations. We always keep high expectations, but nothing is perfect. That's why expectations could never be met. That would be a more diplomatic answer.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I have another question. And the person wants to know, if you could reform one aspect of Pakistan's bureaucracy, what would it be and why?
Um, Actually, I am not supposed to talk much about bureaucracy. We are probationary officers and we have strict instructions. We have to
Mhm.
follow them. We have limited permission to be in such seminars, and but to not talk much about such things. So I would like to skip this question.
All right, no problem at all. I think that's all for you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Um,
much for joining us. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for sharing your insightful experiences with us today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Love face.
Allah Hafiz. Now I want to bring another guest alumna speaker. Um, I'm excited to introduce Ms. Taiba Zulfikar, who is a dynamic educator and instructional designer with a passion for empowering learners and teachers worldwide. Her journey began as an English Works instructor in 2016, and since then she has earned prestigious scholarships including the TESOL Practitioner Course 2020 and the Professional Development for English Teachers, University of Oregon 2022. With 20 completed MOOCs and experience as an e-mentor for Relo Pakistan 2021, Tayyiba has trained 50 plus teachers and MOOC facilitation and e-teacher scholarships. She has presented at international platforms like the Seoul International 2022 and e-teacher online conferences 2021. Currently, as an open qubit instructional designer and community lead, she thrives on designing transformative learning experiences that connect and inspire global educators. We're excited to hear from her and gain insights into her impressive journey and achievements. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much for
I'll,
having me. Ji.
so I'll go on with the questions. Um, please summarize your experience studying for your MA in English here at National University of Modern Languages, Islamabad. What skills did you acquire during your stay at the university, and how did they assist you and your career prospects?
Sure. So thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank Ms. Iram for inviting me to the webinar. And I would like to thank her for all her services. I'm so proud to be her student. I have always seen her always engaging in youth empowerment, and I always strive to be like her. And I'm proud to say that I'm like 50% shadow of her. I have been inspired by her, and I still remember my teachers, Sir Yasir, Brigadier Salim, Miss Amreen Fakhr, Sir Rar. They were an ocean of knowledge. My journey has been a combination of every teacher who has taught me at NUML, because this was my first ever experience where I was actually encouraged to speak, because since my bachelor's, there was just one way of communication. However, when I came to NUML, I came across a lot of different opportunities. Like, there were different clubs, different societies, which we became a part of. There was amazing networking. The teachers were extremely nice and friendly with the students. Apart from just conveying knowledge, we used to have classroom discussions. So I feel like, us time pe you're not quite, you don't understand the impact that it has in your life. But later on, it's such an amazing unconscious learning, because I replicated the same thing in my teaching, and my students are extremely receptive to the knowledge that I give them, receptive to the teachings and the learnings. So I'm extremely grateful to the whole NUML University staff, my teacher, Miss Iram Shidati, particularly, because we all see she is, mashallah, not just a NUML star, she's a global star. So thank you, ma'am, if you're listening. And thank you for having me. And you can ask me any other question.
Thank you so much, Deva. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
I'll talk about your professional experience. You have earned several prestigious scholarships, such as the TESOL practitioner course and the professional development for English teachers. How have these experiences shaped your teaching philosophy, and how do they influence your work with educators around the world?
Thank you so much. So, when I was back in 2012, when I completed my master's till 2013, I used to do I used to do a very teacher-centered teaching. But then, when I joined these courses, online courses, because back then online courses were a really big thing. Now, after COVID, they are very common. Everybody is able to do them. So I still remember that the first thing that I used in my classroom was Kahoot. I learned it from a course, and I was able to incorporate it. And when you're asking students questions, I myself would not be able to answer because I would feel very shy. But Kahoot is an ed tech software which you use it on your screen, on your multimedia, and then everyone is able to participate. So this ensures 100% participation. My students, if there were 50 students and only 2 would participate, then with the help of all these courses that I learned online, there was 100% participation. And everything that I've learned internationally has helped me collaborate with a lot of people online. And it has, it I would say that